Welcome to Indiana Basketball Weekly on the Grueling Truth Sports Network, brought to you by MyBookie.ag. I'm your host, Mike Goodpaster. Right now, I want to welcome in Steve Risley. How you doing, Steve?
Mike, how you doing? We're doing, aren't we? That's about all we can say.
Well,
is what we're doing, which is more.
I don't think this is going to be as positive as our show Saturday night.
This is it's beyond being really upset about it. It's more embarrassing than upset. What this is a product of course, for anybody just turning in, we lost by 20 points to Ft.Wayne, IUPUI Ft.Wayne. For the second year in a row, we've lost them. I actually tried to get the box score. It's actually not been put up yet. I'm sure IU's holding it hostage.
I've got it now.
I was able to pull up. All right, I was able to pull up last year's box score. We probably ought to go off of that because we only lost by 3 in overtime last year. So maybe we ought to just fake that that's the box score and go with that one instead. But this is really it's very embarrassing. It's a situation of this. What makes me mad is we refuse to play defense. I consistently saw one guard dribble. The guards ate us alive. We don't want to defend against a three-pointer. They lit us up with their three-point shooting. When they weren't busy shooting threes, they were penetrating down the line and cutting through two of our defenders, taking our baseline from us. We refuse to play any kind of team defense at all. That upsets me. That makes me mad because our coach came in here heralded as the defensive guru in college basketball today. His teams in Dayton were built on defense. If I would have thought anything was going to get changed quickly, it was going to be defense. And it's where I've seen the least improvement. I've harped on that every show we've done. And once again, we get embarrassed for the second time by a team and a program that are far inferior to the program of Indiana. And I'll give you, this was a better Ft.Wayne basketball team than I thought they would have been. But what this really boils down to, it boils down to a lack of maturity by these players, a lack of intensity by these players, a lack of leadership from these players, and a coach who has yet to put the fear of God into these players that we're going to do it his way or you're not going to play. We talked about this during the program last time, that this is a great opportunity here for some to take some of these players, not to do every one of them, but take some of these players and just set them down and just say, if you aren't going to play the game the way I want it played, you aren't going to play. And it's just, I'm going to find 5 kids on the floor who are going to go play the game the way I want to play. Because if I'm going to lose playing the game the way I want it played and the way I want to coach the game. Knight did that against Illinois back in the 80s. He benched all 5 of the starters. And I think that one of the things that Knight would have said is, winning basketball games is not nearly as important to me as how you represent your university and how you represent yourself and your basketball program. Tonight, IU did none of that. But like I said, I understand it. I understand they're a young team. They got a new coach. He's trying to establish himself. We don't have any leadership. Those are the reasons we lost. But what pisses me off is we refuse to play defense. We give 92 points to a D2 basketball program, or where they have one. I don't even know what Ft.Wayne is.
They're Division I.
If they're Division I. They're Division I, okay. By enrollment. Certainly not by stature in the basketball world. But we give up 92 points. That's something Tom Crean would have been proud of.
Well, the thing that is bad is this.
In a basketball game.
When you look at it, their guards, they had 4 guards that contributed 73 of those 92 points. You had John Conger, who had 16, Kason Harrell, who had 28, Bryson Scott had 26, and they played 4 guards for over 33 minutes and beat Indiana's ass. And to me, that's coaching. Their coach came out and we talked about it when, we previewed Ft.Wayne. I said their guards are really good. That is what concerned me about the game. So he went, and if you look at the game before this against Stetson, they only had 3 guards that played 30 minutes. He went out of his way to attack Indiana's weakness, which is the guard play. And you've got Newkirk and Johnson who play for themselves. They forced stupid threes, and the amount of turnovers tonight, they turned the ball over more tonight probably than they did in any 2 games they've played this year.
Yeah, Johnson has, 6 turnovers on his own. 6 turnovers in 30 minutes of basketball. He commits 1/3 of our team turnovers, and he's our senior point guard leader. And I can't think of one of the turnovers he made trying to make something happen to get our team ignited, get him engaged, get him into the game. I'm going to say this, and I'm not losing faith in Archie Miller in no way. Nobody should lose faith in Archie Miller. But I'm going to tell you what, for the way this team's being coached right now and being directed and whatever's going on there, Fred Glass could have got me for a hell of a lot less money than what he's paying Archie Miller. And there's a lot of other guys that could have paid a lot less money for what he's getting in return on his investment right now. And it's just the thing of Miller's got to get pissed off at these guys now. He's got to bench guys. I mean, he's got to make a statement.
Yeah, and the thing is this. When you look at the box score, Steve, Al Durham has played good all year. He doesn't turn the ball over. They're playing a team tonight that's playing 4 guards, and Durham played 13 minutes, and you still got Josh Newkirk playing 26, Robert Johnson playing 31, and they're not quality minutes. I mean, I know Johnson put up 17 points in 31 minutes, but he had 6 turnovers. And this team basically lost the game because of turnovers. And then you got Zach McRoberts, who played his ass off Saturday, and you would think would have earned more time, and he plays 24 minutes. Yeah,
and even I talked to some people, and I listened to some of the comments that Miller had made. And he said that he takes accountability for McRoberts not getting more minutes earlier in the season. That Zach has practiced this way for a long time. He said in his comments he made that I was listening to earlier to prep for this, and that it was on him and his coaching staff for not recognizing the fact that McRoberts had earned more playing time. Yet here we are again. We're going to give him 10 less minutes or 7 less minutes in a game than we're going to give Johnson, who has done the absolute opposite to me. And I'm sure Robert Johnson's a good kid. I don't want to take anything away from anybody that puts on an Indiana uniform that plays a game. But in lieu of the fact that you're a senior and the contributions you're making to a ball club and the leadership you should be providing with an entirely new environment, he's 0 for everything. He's 0 for the world. He needs to be sat down and just given some ample opportunity to watch a game from the bench and think about what he wants his legacy to be at Indiana basketball.
Yeah.
He's pissing it away right now.
Yeah, and if you look at it, you brought it up, 1984, Indiana goes to Illinois to play. They end up getting embarrassed because Knight benches everybody basically. It's an upperclassman. He plays all the freshmen. I think that was either the last or the second last Big Ten game of the season. They come out the next week. They beat Richmond, who had upset Auburn in the second round of the tournament. Then they go beat number 1 ranked North Carolina and come within 3 points or 2 points of going to the Final Four. You can't be afraid to come down on these guys.
No, not at this point. Not with what's at stake at this point. You cannot be afraid to come down on these guys. If you're ever going to have a chance in a season to do it, right now is your chance to come down real hard. You come off a good win, against a quality basketball team in an intense game. You're getting ready to go into the meat and potatoes of your basketball season. Why we show up every day to Assembly Hall as a player, as a coach, as a referee, as a fan, as anything. And you're just you have a tremendous opportunity now just to set them down and dial it in big time, because I'm going to tell you what, losing like this to Ft.Wayne and losing like this to Indiana State, don't think that the selection committee is not going to remember these 2 blowouts. All right? When they go start finding reasons to eliminate teams, which generally is what ends up happening around selection time, they don't start trying to find teams to put in. They start looking for reasons to knock teams out, because there are always more than 65 teams that are worthy of playing in the tournament. But right now they're starting to build a little resume of why would we take Indiana over somebody else? Well, why would we not? Well, Indiana got killed by Indiana State, got killed by Ft.Wayne. 2 teams that aren't even under consideration for the tournament.
And now you come to 2 more teams similar to that. Tennessee Tech is a team that's 8-4. But the worry with Tennessee Tech is they've got two guards in Kajun Mack and Alexei Jugovic, who I guess is a foreigner, and I probably just said his name wrong. But they're both very good shooters. But this team does not go nearly as deep as Ft.Wayne. And now I think this is where we get to the point where if there's not a 20 or 30-point ass-kicking coming to Tennessee Tech on Thursday night, then we may have a problem.
Hell, I predicted that against Ft.Wayne. They had all the reasons in the world to beat Ft.Wayne by 20 points. They got embarrassed last year. They're playing in Assembly Hall. They come off a big win. but like I said, this is a product of immaturity, lack of leadership, and lack of the coach putting the fear of God into these players yet. That's what that is. That's why it's hard to be mad about anything.
See, and I don't even know if it's the fear of God. I think you have to learn how to come back from an emotional big win. And this team had never had to do that before, and tonight they didn't do it. They didn't even come close to being able to do it.
Right. Well, and that comes with maturity and confidence and execution. Everything that those things will come. Learning how to they got to get themselves in that situation more than one time this season. Like I said, I say put the fear of God in them. What I just mean is somehow Coach Miller is going to have to get it through these guys very quickly that you're either going to play the game my way or you're not going to play the game. And it's, that was always pretty clear every time you put on a uniform at Indiana University when I played there. And, you were going to play the game plan that was set up for us. You weren't going to deviate from it without instruction to deviate from it. And or you just weren't going to play. And I benefited from that many times, and I got beat up by that many times. So there were times when I played because somebody else wouldn't play nice way. There were times I sat because I wouldn't play nice way. But we all understood what we were facing when we were on the court. Right now, if I was Tennessee's coach, I'd say first words out of my mouth tomorrow morning, guys, these guys are beatable. They're beatable. Don't read the name on the front of their jersey. Read the name on the back of their jersey, because the names on the back of their jersey, and I know Indiana doesn't have the names on the back of their jersey. It's a metaphor. But this team is beatable. You're not playing Indiana. You're playing a bunch of individuals that have Indiana on the front of their shirt. That's kind of what you're playing right now. And it's ridiculous for us to sit there and rely on John Morgan to do it every game. I mean, he's bound and determined to have an off game. Kid still scores 14 points.
12 rebounds.
Gets rebounds. Yeah. How many rebounds did he end up with?
12.
12 rebounds. I mean, he's in foul trouble in the first half. We're trying not to play him in the first half and trying to set him. So, and he still has what would be an expected game for him. But there's little he can do if we don't have guard penetration. We don't have guard effort, guard hustle, getting him the ball, helping him out. Just gets into foul trouble. He's probably trying to defend one-on-one without any support from anybody else on the team. I mean, we're not protecting our stars. We're not helping out. It's almost becoming somewhat of a selfish guard situation on his basketball team right now. And it's not what either one of us thought would happen at the beginning of the year. We thought we'd really struggle inside. And, I just think it's unfortunate. It puts us back in a situation where, you get one step forward and tonight takes you two steps backwards. So right now it takes away anything we may have gained in the Notre Dame game win. We probably just gave it all right back. It's like making a birdie on a par 5 and going to an easy 110-yard par 3 and making a double bogey. You just give it right back. What's the point? So other than that, I mean, I don't think there's much else more to add to this. If anybody's got a really intelligent question you want to ask, please, but it's got to be an intelligent one, because there aren't many intelligent questions you could ask about this loss right now. It's not in front of you that we all didn't just watch. But, I really just don't know any other comments, you have a feeling you have?
No.
No. See, I really just can't say much about it.
I was sitting there watching the game thinking, man, if I didn't have to do a show, I'd have turned this off with 15 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, I can. You can almost watch the guards for the first 5 minutes of the game. You can tell what type of game it's going to be.
Yeah.
And you can almost watch them. You just don't even need to watch the inside play because the inside play is going to get it for the most part. But you can watch our guards and how engaged are they going to be in the first 5 minutes of a ball game. And right now, our guards, the ones he's putting on the floor in the beginning of the game, are not engaging in the first 5 minutes of a basketball game. And you can tell me about coming off a 17-point performance and 6 assists at Notre Dame. Those weren't impactful points, and they weren't impactful assists. He was not an impact player. We're not impact guards in that game. It was McRoberts coming in off the bench. It was our inside play. It was Morgan having a monster game. Those were the impact players. It wasn't our guards.
And college basketball, the guards are more important than anything.
It's a guard-driven sport. I mean, the essence of the big 7-footers and the dominant big men aren't there. I mean, Jawan Morgan is about as dominant a big man as you're going to find in the Big Ten right now.
Yeah,
I really believe that. I think by the end of the year, he's going to be an MVP candidate. If the team helps him out, if the team's got to produce, got to be a winning team. They've got to win. I mean, they're not going to make an MVP out of a team.
They're going to win if the guards produce. If the guards don't produce, this is a 500 team that's going to play in the first round of the NIT against George Mason or some crap.
Yeah, I think that's where we're headed for because, like I said, the grind of the Big Ten is just that. It's a grind. It's very difficult because every team gets up for you. Indiana still wears a bullseye on the back of the uniform because they are Indiana. They're just making it harder on themselves right now. So what I hope to see is just a shake-up in the guard situation at Indiana right now. Like I said, I want to go back and just say I don't personally know Newkirk and Johnson, and I'm sure they're nice kids. I don't think Indiana would really think they cleaned that part of the program up a couple of years ago, but on the floor, nice just doesn't always get it done. As a matter of fact, it rarely gets it done. You've got to be impactful. And putting 17 points up in a game does not necessarily make you impactful. You've got to be a deal breaker. You got to be somebody who comes in and affects the pace of play, affects the way the game is played, affects the attitude of how the game is played. And McRoberts proved that you don't have to do it by scoring 17 points.
All right, Steve.
So other than that, I don't. I'd say we just take what we just talked about, sit back, and see what kind of changes they make. The real gauge will be if Miller sees anything of the same thing that we're talking about. And I'm not stupid enough to think that I'm smarter than him, but there is this thing called the obvious.
Yeah.
That at some point, Mr. Obvious finally raises his ugly head and says, it's pretty obvious what's happening right now. And I just really hope is he gives some other kids a chance to earn a spot. I think other kids have earned the right to step up. And if I was some other kid right now, if I was Devontae Green or something like that, or McRoberts or Freddie McSwain or something like that, I'd be busting my ass and practice so hard right now. I'd be crawling off the court, knowing that now's my best opportunity to get Big Ten minutes.
All right, Steve. So, if anybody has any questions for Steve or myself, you can go to @GruelingHoops to ask it. You could also go to the Grueling Truth Facebook page. You can hit us up there. We will just say Thursday night we'll be here at 11 o'clock to talk about the Tennessee Tech game, Steve.
Hopefully it won't be a repeat of tonight's show. Hopefully we'll be – in my eyes, there's nothing that they're going to be able to do to dig themselves out of this hole against Tennessee Tech or whoever they're playing. But they can start going in that direction. By giving up, they gave up everything by losing this game like this to Ft.Wayne that they earned forward in the Notre Dame game. So now they've got to start from scratch again and build themselves back up. And now they've got less than a week and a half to do it before they get into just regular Big Ten play. Everybody have a good holiday, and we'll see you Thursday night after the game. We'll talk to you Thursday night after the game if you're listening.
Yeah, what is playing on Thursday night, 11 o'clock Eastern. The game should be over or at least a half hour over by then. So make sure you come back to the Grueling Truth. You can also hear us on Spreaker live at 11 o'clock Thursday night. So for Steve Risley.
And one more thing, Mr. and Mrs. Newkirk and Johnson, you can tweet me at Grueling Hoops. If you don't agree with my comments.
Hey, and if they want to come on the show, they're more than welcome.
Don't we have one of the Ball Dads books or something like that? No.
No.
All right, let's get out of here.
We can try if you want, but you got the hook up with Steve Alford, but I don't think Steve's in the good graces of the Ball family anymore.
Yeah, Mr. Ball is tied up in Lithuania for the next 6 months of his life, so I'm not going to pay the long distance charge.
Well, if they do some more stealing over there, they might be literally tied up and
locked up for a long period of time. And with that, we will be leaving.
All right, guys. So for Steve Risley, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.